friends. We have Tom Althouse with us once again, the creator of The Matrix. Of course, that was stolen from him, and we've been talking about that for years. But he has a bigger insight of what's going on in the world, and he just came up, just shared with me how Putin and Z are talking about immortality. Wow. And this is part of the Matrix stuff. And we're starting to move in, making this script that you started into an actual reality. Thanks for joining us, Tom.
No, my pleasure. Michael, you're just the person I thought of too. I thought of you guys like, this is the way to spring it out there. It's too important. When you write something that Hollywood and the cabal both get so interested in and fight over, actually, and you've got the proof of it, and it spells out exactly what's going on 35 years later, I think it's worth a discussion with the right people together, and I think you're the right person. So yeah,
great. So let's start out with this video where it was a hot mic moment. Z and Putin were hanging out just recently. Trump went to China, and then Putin followed him there. So it's interesting. So is this what they're all talking about? Maybe, and we're going to talk about that. So let's listen.
On the sidelines of the high-profile meeting of several world leaders, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping were overheard talking about advances in the science of human lifespans. The brief exchange was caught during a live news video feed of Xi and Putin as they walked with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Their words were inaudible, but their translator, still on mic, can be heard detailing parts of their conversation.
All right, I'm gonna bring it back a little bit and just talk it because they're not, giving us what they're saying. It says Xi Jinping, before it's said to be very rare to live up to 70. And now it's said that you are still a child at 70. And Vladimir Putin says, in a few decades, as biotechnology continues to develop, human organs will continue to be transplanted, and people will become younger, and perhaps even achieve immortality. Some predict that within this century it may be possible. May be able to live up to 150 years. There are forecasts that this is the world a person will live in up to 100.
The meeting between the leaders took place as Xi presided over a parade to mark the 80th anniversary of World War II, with the video provided by the parade's media center to international news agencies.
So fascinating. Good catch. I didn't see that anywhere else. You're in tune. You're dialed in, Tom. You're muted. You're muted, Tom.
Sorry, Michael. Yeah, this is what I was writing about. The whole Matrix story is warning about, whispering through art, what is coming, that immortal society. The immortal society is the elite get together, right? And they transcend national boundaries by having something that will attract them to give up nationalities and form the one world order. And that glue is longevity. So you have world leaders being offered, and their families, longevity through a red pill program. And Stanford, IBM's already been working on it. It's all through the news, underground through the news, you see it. And they believe it's beyond their wild expectations, what they've achieved. And of course, it's only going to be for the elite only, not for the common people. They talked about having a sustainable planet. And so therefore, what happens to the other 99%? On a planet where the elite live, eventually reaching immortality. They can be sectioned into a servitude class and also harvested and eliminated, the rest of them. So you'll see retainment camps being set up. You'll see large ones. And that was even starting to happen under the Bush administration. And that was the plan for the reset that I knew about when I was at Robertson's organization. So I whispered through art. And all these decades later, it's still under the radar. Now, what I want to dialogue with you here, Michael, is this one aspect. That's a hot mic. That they traveled all that way. And I had said on a program, this is what they're going to discuss. I said, with them going to China, you have Trump's administration, Elon Musk going along, the billionaires going along. That's not to have a discussion, I believe, on trade negotiations or get some Boeing aircraft traded. No, there's something bigger going underneath that even Putin brought his businessmen also, from what I understand. So they're bringing these world leaders together in China. And I was saying before we had this hot mic release, they're going to talk about immortality, talk about it. The billionaires in an article have already contributed, all these billionaires, money into a big pool to achieve longevity and mortality. And many are talking about being cryogenically preserved until it's perfected. That is the opening of the immortal story. The architect is cryogenically preserved while his scientists work on solving the longevity problem. It's happening. And one more thought. Let's take a discussion.
Yep, go ahead.
Why China? Well, China historically really is where the one emperor went balls out to have immortality. The one that had the terracotta soldiers and everything. He was the one that wanted immortality, even had that mercury-filled lake in his tomb. So he was looking to be preserved for it. But China, it fits to have world leaders come together with this idea of forming this one world society through longevity, because that's really would be the historic land and empire where this really was the hot topic, now caught on a hot mic. Thoughts?
Yeah, oh, definitely. And, they were talking about organ harvesting. I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. And, in China, the Falun Gong, the Uyghurs are basically I've had people on my show where the United Nations is like trying to go after China because they're doing the Uyghurs, the Falun Gong, and harvesting their organs, forcibly harvesting their organs. So kind of like what you alluded to, the Bush administration was starting to set up these camps that Jesse Ventura was starting. He former Navy SEAL, came out, started, had his own show where he started to, talk about that. Of course, they went after Jesse Ventura and, defamed him. And now he's kind of like in the background. But there is definitely a movement for the elite to do this.
Absolutely. Well said. And it's like, why were they so intent on this particular screenplay, The Matrix Story, The Immortals, that Warner Brothers actually copyrighted the Immortals title? Why were they so set, different facets of the cabal, of taking this and the tech in it? Here's another thought. Elon Musk was part of that entourage. Why bring Elon Musk? Elon Musk was given this author's tech. Neural Enhancer, I called it. They renamed it Neuralink. He was given it by Paramount and Warner Brothers, with Disney blessing it. So they're the ones that held on to it and claimed it first off this script, Jackson Neck all through it, where their attorney said there's no Jackson Neck. I had opened blindly during the deposition and came right to it. It's all through it. So even the Wachowskis, as I said before, had said they wanted to do Jackson Neck for real after they were given this work to take. They wanted the tech also. So Warner Brothers, as we showed before, grooms Elon Musk and gives him the tech. And there he is in China. Now, here's something I want to share with you and your audience, too, that I think is pretty chilling. I haven't shared on other programs, really. My patent attorney, who saw me on Roseanne Barr's show, Christopher, he contacted me. He said, look, I know the guy who did Bullet Time and everything else, and I want to help you, Tom. I want to help you. So Jen, who did my website, and I received message after message after message from this Christopher, high level from Michigan. And he put in entries into the patent office because he said, we can post-date this. So this looks good. We're going to reclaim the work like we wanted to, right? Yeah. Now, wait till you hear what happens. And this is what happens. So we run the patents. He's going like, the examiner is so excited. He's thrilled. He knows you wrote it. It's working great. Stand by. Then silence. Then a message on my phone from Christopher saying, get this, he was contacted by Elon Musk and offered a job. He stopped the patent process on the neural enhancer, which was going to post-date, put credit back to me. He stopped it. And I said, oh, you had an interview with him? And he corrects me. I had 4. After this long silence, Christopher goes, I had 4 interviews. And he goes, I'm just a nothing. Yeah, right. You were bragging before. You were quite high up. And you did all this for free. And now you're... So that's Elon Musk. Now, why would Elon Musk know? Because when a patent entry is entered into consideration by an examiner at the patent office, that gets posted, right? So Musk, from what I understand, is going to know. He'll have alerts up. Anybody who's going to, and there's a lot going from China too. A lot, the patent attorney told me, a lot of the entries are coming from China on the Neuralink neuroenhancer AI implant biotechnology. So the original author got shot down again when his work is taken, and now his tech is retaken. It does not belong in the hands of Elon Musk. Any thoughts, Michael?
Yeah. So, Tom, what is amazing to me is how you created this. You tapped into obviously the creative God source, and this information flowed, and then it seems from that point on, everybody that's evil, like, it's like some kind of James Bond movie where you're like, just constantly, one ghoul bad guy after another comes and tries to steal your information, and wow, it's crazy.
I know. If that's a scenario, I'll have to make you James Bond and Tracy Joe, Ursula Anderson, and then I've got to be, the Q or whatever his name is, the guy who supplies the stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, I supply the tech, weaponize. Yeah, but it's like, it's crazy that people keep coming my way that are in the circles.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a conversation with a NORAD officer and was connected to Pentagon by this Christopher. And he said, yeah, you're going to be helping Vietnam vets and everything else. I'm like, this is great. Iraqi war vets. And I'm like, this is great. Using my ideas, milking them in these conversations with these top people.
Yeah.
And then crickets,
They're just milking you for information, see how much they can gain, and then use it. Yeah.
That's why I'm still alive. Because they don't even understand how to do
it. That's it. That's why you're still alive.
Yeah.
Because you're tapped into something that they don't have access to. They don't have that creative access.
And go back to what you said, Michael. It's downloaded. It comes through. I have an understanding gifted to me, and I'll say it because I don't believe in the big ego thing. None of us do here. That's what makes great men, I think, is they can put the egos aside and go for what does the best service. And that's what we all do. And so it's like, I'm looking at it going like, this came through in such a perfect package to understand the bad, the good, the pretty, and the ugly. And I was able to lay it all out in a screenplay where it belongs in the story. But if you open that Pandora's box and put it worldwide, and again, the elite are going to make sure they harness it in such a fashion, even in the story, where only the elite get the 3.0 version. And if there are those that are part of a service class of those 99% that are brought in as a service class, not in the camps in the future, then you're going to have them with a minor neuroenhancer or Neuralink, which is not as full functioning as the elites. So already the Pentagon has talked about having a higher level chat GPT at a different grade than for the general public. And the one more thing is that Albert Carbon was taken by Joel Silver, who is the executive producer from Matrix. And he gets to have the exec from Warner Brothers that was at my deposition, Kate Shilton, goes over to Netflix as litigation content control. This ties together. And allows him to do Protected after my case is thrown, Albert Carbon, where the concept is, and this should be chilling, the rich in the future have immortality. The poor is used as pawns. That is the premise Joel Silver read in all the discovery of all my drafts and notes and story treatments that he had access to as a defendant. In the sequels case, hasn't done Matrix case yet. Another big battle coming up. This whole patent thing that Christopher was doing for the Neuralink was to precede the case. So they tried to shoot the horse out from under me. We're still going to go forward with our case because Matrix has not been claimed yet.
Nice.
But any thoughts? And then I want to go to the interrogation scene and read you from the original pages written in 1989 and 1993, what exactly ties to China from the original screenplay. And I want to do it on your show. So any thoughts first?
Wow, good. Yeah. You've talked about this scene several times, and they deformed it, of course.
Yes.
Where Neo is in the train station, and the Indian couple come in with their little girl, and they're going to put her on the train. But that was part of probably the organ harvesting that they intend to do.
Bingo. Absolutely right. Even though I hate bingo, that was fantastic. Yes, because that is about child trafficking and organ harvesting. You are absolutely right. Where parents are left in such a desperate state where they cleanse that scene.
Yeah.
Remember, if you go to Will Smith's I Am Legend, you see the exact train station scene, the way it was written in this, done over because the Wachowskis butchered it. So the Wachowskis sterilized it down to a single couple, well-dressed, and a rich little girl named Sati. And they don't explain why they're pushing that kid into the program, and they can't follow. And a producer from Hollywood, Michael, actually had contacted me and said, he said he was fans of the work and stuff. And he said, I've been following your story. We know it was taken. And he said, are you aware that they put a rich couple in? Did you catch that? Which makes no sense, as you had a poor couple. You had poor families crowded together. And we find out from the producer that they had lessened the budget on Matrix. They cheapened the budget on Matrix, saving dollars by cutting it down to a static family rather than the crowd. But it has meaning if you put it back, which I think you're opening up here, is the crowd makes it much more poignant, powerful. A desperate people. The only thing they have left in the squalor conditions outside the program, which the elite will ensure with camps and such, is to get their kids into that program. The only way they're going to get in, if you put the liquid mirrors back at the train station as a security device, where a red-pilled person can pass through and those can't that are not red-pilled, to have their child walk through with a red-pilled person through those mirrors. And do you know, one more thing, that the train station scene also was done in Darling in the Franxx by University of Berkeley's Crunchyroll, which was controlled also by Warner Brothers and Sony and their deal. And they put Darling in the Franxx with a woman anime girl pulling the guy through the liquid mirrors. She's in the program. He's not. And a piece of the clothing tears off. That's exactly what happens in mine. In the original, part of Neo's clothing tears off because he's been cut from the program.
Yeah.
Just layers on this, right? So you put the liquid mirrors from Morpheus' smoking room and Matrix back where it belongs to mortals. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Child trafficking.
We saw it real time, for 4 years during the Biden administration. Hundreds of thousands of children came across the border from poor families and disappeared into the United States. Probably lots of organ harvesting.
Exactly. Now, the big challenge for a lot of us this is very hard. We are losing friends right and left because a lot of us are not taking sides on any party anymore, right?
Right.
I mean, Tucker Carlson took a nosedive standing up for this idea of, I'm not going to stand with either agenda. I'm going to say what's right is humanity's needs. What's right is a faith-filled movement. What is right is addressing the facts and not pandering to either side. Yeah. And so we have a wake-up call going for an
entire. It worked for him, but he had to attack President Trump, so that put him on a different side. So I would have like.
If it was done with more finesse, you mean?
He didn't. He went on the attack dog mode. So kind of didn't work out so good, unfortunately.
I hear you. I may, I'll be probably shot down too, because like Roseanne's big fan of Trump and everything. She had me on, and when I was on her program, I was like, yeah. And then what had happened when I saw the investments, like I said, in Warner Brothers and Netflix and things, I'm like, what the heck? And Disney, I'm like, you're now invested, and you're bringing these CEOs of the high tech you said was evil now to your office and pandering to Zucker and all these other guys. Why? Why are you pandering to Elon Musk when he's a failure? And it's like a business idea. I think Trump used a business mind and went, this is good business. I just think that's what's happening. And maybe he's thinking that already the reset is a done deal. I mean, I've been starting to say that is there a way out of this box?
Yeah.
But
remember that Trump he's the head of something.
Right.
And the White Hats, hopefully. And so they have a bigger picture plan. They're pushing against that evil side that wants to do the organ harvesting and try and, overcome that. Maybe become more powerful so that they can't do, I don't know. So
let's go to this, Mike. Let's go to this. This is a great dialogue. This is a good discussion. It's almost like we are separated by a different color fabric right now. And that's good for this kind of discussion to be vibrant. Because of my experience too, Roseanne had said that, President Trump knew my story, knew this whole thing.
Really?
And the greatest story, she called me from his place after she did that first time she contacted me. My mom and I were both like, "Is we sure this Roseanne?" She called me the next day and said Trump's family knows the story, and he was waiting for the right time. So okay, he's waiting for the right time, but then Elon Musk comes in, buys his way in. So I think Trump got derailed and taken down this like flashy, like shiny things, like gold and shiny things in your face. And I would like to see him get back on the tracks, because here's the proof, I would say, Michael. If he restores this to what it's supposed to be, to rightful ownership, and allow a cascade of others getting their rights back, since Matrix was never claimed, he knows our story, that would tell me he's back on the right side of things, regardless of party affiliations, all right? Because the Republican Party with the religious right was bought and owned with Robertson's influence, and Trump needs to get free of the religious right and their control. And right now he's kind of working their policies.
Yeah.
So I would say that's my point. I'm not afraid to say it. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to have your last thought on that, because you have every right to say what you need to say, and then I want to go to the screenplay. So,
well, I mean, you know that religious right side is very evil, very dark. Unfortunately, they
protect us from their followers.
Captured you for a while and abused you. So you've broken free. So you understand a lot more than most people understand. Right. You see a bigger picture. So you're, and rightfully so, you're skeptical. When you see certain things happening, you're like, okay, where's this going?
I appreciate
that. It's good to have that skepticism. It's good to have that, observational skills that you have on another level, that connection that you have on another level, so that you can read these things and, give us your insights. That's what you're doing here.
I appreciate that, Michael. I also, being a victim of the sex ring at Pat Robertson's organization, which is tied to many world leaders, I am also advocating for the victims, being a victim myself of it, that they have a right to be heard. It's not something that's boring or to be brushed under the rug. It would be a great thing if the administration went, let's make this transparent, instead of shouting at it so much and putting people down for bringing it forward. How about we embrace truth? Yeah. And if there's something to confess it, and everybody will bless you, and we go on. That's the way to be strong. That's the way to be a real man.
Fantastic.
Confess if you got something, move on strong.
That truth will crush it.
Yeah.
We don't have to come at it with pitchforks and torches. We just expose it, and it collapses. Everybody's like, we turn our back on that. It doesn't exist for us anymore, and that destroys it.
It's like Anthony Hopkins in The Edge, with that wonderful movie with Alec Baldwin. He says, when you come against the bear, don't run from it. Face it, back slowly away. So with the Epstein files, don't run from it. Face it, and own it. Kill the bear. So that's what you got to do. Not run from the bear. So, and don't tell others they're idiots for facing the bear. They're actually doing the thing you should do. Anyway, that's my analogy. But I appreciate this dialogue.
That's good. It works too, because I've been around. I've confronted bears and I was no fear. And they looked at me like, oh shit, and then they ran away.
So I'm going to send a stuffed bear to the White House with Epstein files on its forehead.
There you go. Beautiful. Yeah,
there we go. You can stare the bear. All right, let's go then. If we can, I want to go to page 35 of the only copyrighted Matrix screenplay. Think of that. This is the only copyrighted work of the Matrix. And there's different copyrights of this one. This is the 1998 version used in 99, as I said. Let's read the interrogation scene, and I'll substitute the real names that they use in. So what happens is the interrogation scene in mine does not take place, which precedes Matrix, in a sterile room like a holding cell. In mine, it takes place in Neo's living room. So imagine the agents coming. Cars appear with sinister precision outside. Lights go off. They come in your home. Your wife is there. Your child's there. And they're coming in uninvited. I'd love to read the whole scene. Let me capsulize this, though. I'm going to capsulize this spot. Okay. So Smith says this when he finally lets it out of the bag, why he's closing down Neo's department. Keep in mind that Neo and Smith in the original Matrix work did what you did, Michael. They were part of the CIA. They were part of, Smith was on a higher office level. And let's say you're Neo in this, because you fit. You would be the one in charge of suspected terrorists entering the country, things like that. They call it the Ghost program. Yep. And as soon as it's happening where this is entering in, they shut it down. It's almost like Biden's administration there. So what you have is this statement by Smith. Tomorrow you'll be charged with multiple homicides, but you won't live long enough. You won't live long enough for the trial. Manning was given a letter requesting him to make the diagnosis. He did, schizophrenic for Neo. He was paid well and was promised you'd have no recourse. Tomorrow the newspapers will receive the diagnosis you just read. It's over, Neo. Now that I'm reading first because that's what they do. And that's what happened to me. Baker Acts, 302s, you name it, hauled off by SWAT teams and connected to gay FBI agent. So you've got this guy's also a congressman. So this is that came true. But let's now go to what's China element. Smith goes on later. He says, your aptitudes have been noticed by the high. Oh, he says, we're willing to make you an offer. Now, I think you being in the agencies, I think I got this right, that if somebody shows great aptitude in the civilian sector, they could be offered temporary or some kind of position for their expertise in a certain area that's called for with the agency's needs. Is that true?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so this would make sense then. So after Smith lays a gun out in front of him, he says, so the gun's for me to commit suicide, Neo says, which, Smith says, I'll leave it if you like. But the architect has made Smith forced to make him an offer and offer him the red pill. So here's what happens. Smith draws a Jewish star on a copy of the evaluation. Boy, did we get that right. How important the Jewish part of this is, right? That's why they were like, Bonaventure was crazy at the
So when did you write this again?
This is from 1989 to 93.
Jeez, wow.
So I'm glad I love your reaction. This is great. You're the right guy. So then Smith says, we are willing to make you an offer. So he just drew a Jewish star on the evaluation, what's going to destroy Neo if he needs to use it. But the architect's making him make the offer. So here comes the offer. Listen to this. We are willing to make you an offer. Neo says, what is it? Smith says, your aptitudes have been noticed by the highest levels. Neo, you've been chosen to join the program. This is the interrogation scene, the way it was actually written.
Wow.
He goes, program, which is the question audience is supposed to ask. Here we go. Imagine the greatest minds of the 20th century working together and defeating man's deadliest enemy, death itself. The immortal program, which is the program in the Matrix, will ensure world peace. Good sell point. Right now, the highest offices of every major world power are joining and preparing to usher in a one world society. I just didn't have China entered there. Our country's leading the way. A brave new world is about to begin, and you can be part of it forever. I've been instructed to offer you everlasting life. And Neo actually says, do I have a choice? And Smith goes, a choice. Disgrace and death instead of health and immortality. And Neo gets up, looks out the window at the agents in their cars, which, alluding to all the control it's going to be in his life. He goes, or maybe just a normal life with my family. And Smith says, your choice is to join the program or you and your family will die. Besides, then he says, he holds out a copy of the evaluation, which is going to slander him in the news, which happened to me. Smith says, besides, your disgrace will be their disgrace if this hits the papers tomorrow. And Neo says, you are insane. Smith says, the world will believe that you killed your own family. It's 1989. Dr. Manning will see to that. Smith holds up a cigarette and looks at it as he speaks. Your house runs on gas, doesn't it, Neo? Not the safest source, I've heard. His little girl enters the room in her nightgown holding her stuffed toy dog. It goes on. It's this intense scene that the Wachowskis bastardized into a low-level menial piece for the first scene. Just stick my personal information in, high school birthday and everything. They really just made it into a mockery session, as the guy who told me that stuff was there from the story department said their intention was, since they hated the author. But can you believe that? So right there is the exact tactics spelled out. And you just confirmed, I believe, too, Michael, that this is really how it works. If you have the aptitudes, you might just be offered.
They couldn't control me. They couldn't control you. So they've tried to destroy us in lots of different ways, but we continue on. And they're like, how do they do that? And they're mystified by it and they're intrigued by it. But they watch us, they try and limit us, but we keep coming back. We keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, exposing more and more.
You're absolutely right. And that brings me to a point I've got to reestablish, since I've been saying it on so many shows. I've got to own up and ask my source to make sure you're comfortable with me saying this. So I'm going to open up this box right here. again, I'm going to verify what your thoughts are, and they can change. So I've been saying that these drafts that have been missing, these original drafts restored to my home, 1 second, and 1 second, right here, that the probability is that they came from a CIA film department. Now, am I whispering down the lane and changing the narrative, or would that be, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm trying to give you a chance to say, Tom, maybe you misheard. But would that be the fair assessment, or could we say this just, we don't really know, and it could be from, who knows how these surfaced? My mom believes God restored them. I don't even know. But does the CIA have a film department, and is there a probability this could be from that department? No pressure.
Absolutely, it's from. It's like duh.
Okay, good, because I've been saying, I'm like,
almost they control Hollywood, and you know, the military-industrial complex, CIA, you know, part of it too, intelligence department. They're very much involved in this. They want to control consciousness, and that's why they stole your information, and they had these Wachowski knuckleheads,
right?
They're puppets basically of theirs. They didn't do anything. They told them what to put in there, just like they did Biden. Biden, you're going to like open the border, and it's like, it's like, so, you know, they have to have puppets, but there's a big mastermind, like a James Bond movie. There's like this huge, there's this mastermind behind the scenes that's doing all this stuff. So yeah, you talked about how, you know, some of your material that's been missing for a long time shows back up.
Right.
Like, they returned it.
That's what. Yeah, I want to discuss that. Yeah, I want to discuss that. And the why? Why? Let's put our minds together here again.
Yeah.
Why return it at this point? You know, Michael, because I mean, 2 days before Easter last year, and this is so important. We'll get back to the China thing, of course. But Warner Brothers' whole argument, they totally ripped open the poor man's patent, which is a mail yourself your script with a postmarked date that you open in a trial situation to prove that this was conceived, at least at this time of the mailing, that date. That's what they do, a poor man's patent, mail to yourself packet. That packet had been opened, the script had been pulled out, the story treatment's first page was gone because on the front of it was, or the back of it was the notarized statement. And when this Tony Rankin of Maui, which we found out he actually did this, took the notarized statement thinking, okay, I'll take the notarized statement and the full script out. It said script enclosed, has the seals on it. And left only 8 pages of scribbled notes because he had been at a dinner at my house, and this is way before filing anything. Mm-hmm. And he said, is this everything? And then he got a call on a Saturday at our table and said, you have to leave the room. I got to take this call. And he knew exactly what to take out and shove down my child's art box. Here's the point. They argued that that's, in the case, they argued that as far as the sequels being claimed, didn't allow me to claim Matrix, objected to me claiming it. They argued that May 1993 packet is what the judge should rule on similarities and if Matrix was copied off my work. 8 pages of scribbled notes I couldn't even read. And let me explain. Mm-hmm. When I'm getting a download, right, I'm writing as fast as I can, and I can't even really read my writing. Why am I doing it? To get it down as fast as I can so I can then revamp it immediately with a set-eye recall along with the clues of the scribbles that I'm writing down as fast as I can. So I would not put the scribbles in a poor man's packet. If they are not interpreted that very day, they're useless. And at the very opening of that packet at depositions, I was like, I can't read these 8-page scribbled notes. And you hear Rankin on the tape saying, let's get this out of his hands before he has a chance to go through it. That's my defense attorney? Yeah. And go copy it off. Anyway, there's all kinds of stuff that goes with it.
It's like when you wake up from a dream and you have the memories of the dream and you write it down real quick. And that's what you're doing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
You got to download, you scribble it as fast as you can so you get as much, and then you go back and like, oh yeah, and then you start to create from it. Yeah, absolutely.
See, I've never seen a movie like that where they have the gentleman or a woman doing that, writing down as fast as they can, and it's like they know it's like almost a lost cause, and then they're trying to interpret as they go back.
Tom, how many movies have been created in movie scenes and other sci-fi and all kind of crazy stuff? How many have been created from your work?
Okay,
Matrix. I mean, we're talking Mortals, and how many?
I mean, you go from everything from Elysium, Sense8, Altered Carbon. You've got the Inception. Okay, it goes on and on, but here's one of the points that help guide us to the answer. The copyright entry on the Immortals, not the Matrix, the Immortals, by those that claim the Matrix, the copyright titles on the Immortals, it is a title subtitled Army of Darkness with 346 other subtitles, which allows other studios to make a claim and slip it in under Immortals as that's one of those subtitles. So if we take 346 plus the 2 other titles, which Wachowski didn't choose any of them, that's why they had to be women. They didn't choose any of them. They all they did was take the words Immortals and move the letters around to be clever and mock Warner Brothers by making it Matrix. And that's why Warner Brothers still does not claim the Matrix title. We have a letter to Sophia Stewart saying, we don't claim the Matrix title. We claim the green scrolling blips and the Immortals. So that's your answer comes somewhere in the shells of this beach line of 346 some subtitles are entered to meet the needs of the Den of Thieves that was going to do takes on the work. So it's probably still ongoing, and the number's probably going to be endless, which was the intention of the work. The intention of the work of the author was to give the copyright over to basically every man, woman, and child. They can do their works on it and lift the ceiling of what's possible and enjoy their works and takes off of one storyline. Allow them to create multiple works like Keys on the Piano, endless creation. When NASA scientists had said, it looks like we're going to solve everything, there won't be enough to stimulate or keep us going. There's endless possibilities.
Yeah.
But here's my point on this real quick, and then I want your comment, is the draft date on this, which was restored, defeats Warner Brothers' claim. It was May 1993. They say the packet was 8-page scribbled notes. This full script, draft 1, is March 21st, 1993. This full script precedes the 8 pages of scribbled notes by at least 2 months. And so why would the author say script enclosed and stick in 8-page scribbled notes when he has a full script already proven and shown? So yeah, good.
Well, and you've talked about how, you've given so many examples of like Neo's ID or something like that. Was it your birthday or your father's birthday? Who was it?
It actually has my fiance's birthday, Otika Ball, Senator Boren's niece. They had her birthday on there, and that was to mock the author, because when I lost Otika, I lost my drive, my life. Basically, I was destroyed. She's the one that kept me going and kept me safe through it all and allowed me to write the piece. And so they celebrated that when she was gone in '96 by a Disney approach. You then see the Wachowskis given the work, saying they want to do Jackson Neck for real at the same time, and also mocking me over and over with Otika's birthday. And back to your question about how many works of it were taken. Man in the High Castle, even though it was done by Philip K. Dick, it had nothing to do with films. Philip K. Dick's novel had nothing to do with films and nothing like that. They stuck all that stuff into Philip K. Dick as a writer. They took a deceased author who said he did not want his work bastardized in any way. That was his wish, and they broke his wish and said they thought he'd be happy with it, the book on Man in the High Castle. And so what they did was they stuck all my stuff in Philip K. Dick's work. And so you're taking innocent person, melding it. They did the same thing with Avatar. The Avatar people are innocent. I'm innocent. But the contact for Warner Brothers on tape from the courts had said, yeah, your work was stuck in Avatar.
Jesus.
Yeah, to rip us both off. To try to turn us on each other. They mastermind these things quite intensely.
Yeah.
So,
And then they create this woman that says, Cynthia Stewart, that says she's
right.
Matrix. I'm like, so okay, the Matrix. Well, the real author of the Matrix has like all of this other work, and they've like you talk about how they exposed themselves by having these dates that are in there and all these different events that are relevant to your lifetime. Mm-hmm. So crazy. So
Sophia Stewart has an answer.
Throw, sand in the,
right. That's it. Bring her in as a first claimant, right? A failed person who's willing to do. They bring in failures, people who failed, like the Wachowskis failed at everything they did. They said their mom said all they did was do video games, and they're brought in to be in-house claimants, right? Claim the house and work and bring failures in. Now, Sophia Stewart has an answer for us.
Bring failures in. Bring people with no brain. Bring people with no creativity, because they use them for whatever purpose they have.
Claim it in-house.
Yeah, that's the CIA way.
I didn't know that. Oh, wow. There you go. Well, here's Sophia Stewart's answer for us. She's very adamant about this. You ready for her words? About the inserts, the birthday, the high school, and all my stuff being stuck in there, naming my character. She has a great answer. She says, they wouldn't do that. Well, that's a great answer, Sophia. They did. It's all through every DVD you can find. So, I mean, that's the best you can do. That sounds like, anyway, I want to read to you too, unless you have another thought on that.
Well, again,
go ahead, get another thought, and then we'll go through it.
You know, we were going to have her come up. Remember, we're all like prepared
for
our show, and then she backed out. She's like, I'm gonna come on, I'm going to destroy him. And she's like, and then show.
No show. After hyping it up,
you know that we're gonna pull the truth out, and you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
So so there's a lot of people that say, oh yeah, Cynthia, she did it. It's like, that's dumb. You're not even watching. You're not even looking. Then look at the bigger picture, and you're going to start to see how they, not just Tom Althouse's stealing his work, but they steal lots of authors. You remember we had the amazing woman that came on. They stole her work.
Yes.
So it's over and over and over and over. So many works have been stolen over time, guys.
Yes, absolutely. That's why with them sticking all the personal information in my situation, like the birthday, high school, all that stuff, that lays a mantle of responsibility, I believe, onto us to doing a show like this, to bring it forward. We have to bring it forward, because if they're going to reveal themselves that clearly as a ripoff and we're punished for it, it needs to be aired, just like the Epstein files. So it's time to actually bring truth forward, and we can have a better society, a better world. People will be safer if we operate from a place of truth and faith. So I think that's very, very important. I do say faith, not religion. I say faith.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I do want to read you page 37. It's still the interrogation scene. So the daughter's entered, she's left. It was a chilling moment. And here's what Smith goes on to say. Neo says the normal line. He says, if you hurt my family, I'll kill you. And Smith says, laughing, I'm immortal. Besides, I have 7 armed agents outside. Don't get in the way of your country, Neo. Make no mistake. I want what's best for her. Do what we ask and nobody will get hurt. Great. Neo says, why was the German couple killed? Remember I said he was in charge of a lower echelon department, or Smith's department, in charge of suspected terrorists, called the Ghost Program? So this German guy had showed up that hadn't aged and went and saw his wife in Washington, D.C., accomplished journalist in the story. And her name was Helena. And he's not aged. And they follow him and see it as a ghost program where he then is eliminated and the body's eliminated. And what's interesting is they gave the work to Mel Gibson in 1993. And he did Forever Young for Joel Silver, the producer of The Matrix. Did also an insurance film, as we said, Forever Young. And the wife of the military guy who Mel Gibson plays, who is cryogenically preserved as an Ars, comes back unaged as an Ars, and goes to see his wife named Helen, where ours is Helena. They didn't even try.
Wow.
They didn't even try. No, they didn't even try. So that was the first ripoff of it. So then you have Outbreak, to answer further your one question. Outbreak shows the beginning of this screenplay where you have floating over the canopy of the Amazon, lowering through the canopy. And people who remember the film will remember lowering down and boots pounding by and a monkey. That's the opening of the Matrix story, The Immortals.
Wow.
Yeah. So they just took it like a timeline, chopped it up like a Porsche in a chop shop. So here's what he says after that. Why was the German couple killed? Smith says, Carl wouldn't listen, which means the CIA head knew him personally, who had not aged. It's not time for the public to know yet. Think what would happen if everyone knew that aging was a thing of the past, but only a few were chosen. There'd be anarchy. That's exactly, take us back to China. Let's wrap it back to China. I want your thoughts. Because what they spoke of was on a hot mic, off the record. The most important thing they'd be talking about, which I had said on a program before, not to toot a horn, just to set the landscape here, intellectual landscape, is that they were going to have a conversation about longevity. That's why they're bringing along Elon Musk, who has my tech as the author and publisher, published work. Christopher, the patent office with patent attorney, said, your work's published. That's I'm going to do this for free because it's the right thing to do. And then 4 calls from Elon Musk. So what happens is it was the right thing to do. But the idea was that I was saying they're going to be talking about immortality longevity program. That's what these world leaders are gathering for. And they'll make an excuse that it's about trade or something. Now, here's the chilling thought. Whatever side of the fence we've ever been on, I've always been, Trump supporter in the past, things like that. But here's the deal. Trump is there coming back from that meeting with the China leader. These things are being discussed, and it's a lot of show. He says in an interview, basically says this. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff talked about, a lot of things where maybe change some, trade some Boeing aircraft might happen, paraphrasing badly here. But yeah, I'm not going to tell you everything, but there was a lot of the good things discussed, because he's not going to tell you about the longevity being discussed. They're going to cover it over with a trade deal thing where they're caught on that hot mic. There is definitely a God, a hot mic that you played in the beginning so graciously that shows that the real topic, they were there. And if they're also into longevity, why not make it part of the discussion? Because it's not going to be available for the non-chosen, the 99%. My character in my own piece, they told me I put me on my own movie. They put me in my own movie, they said, the Hollywood producers brag about it, is fighting for the right for longevity for all. And here's a thought, and I want your thoughts on this too. It's your program, but I'm kind of steering it right now. It's like, people would say, in the general elect, they would say, well, I want to go to heaven, and I'm good with a normal lifespan, and I want to be with Jesus. And it's like, okay, that's a segment of our population. The question is, okay, so if you and your children, the normal lifespan was 200, medically pure health, would you then want to die at 80 years old? Would you terminate for what you call the normal lifespan in the past? Or would you allow your children to live to 200 and yourself too? Or would you deprive them of your company? Or is it more important to end your life? Or, I want your thoughts on this, that people are saying, often they said to me, I just want to have a normal life span. I don't want longevity. What if God intended longevity? What if we were designed that way and something was tainted? You can say out of Eden or whatever, but it's like, what if our bodies actually are made to renew ourselves? And God gave us a sense of survival, like you demonstrated so well on Navy SEALs, the ability to overcome odds and keep surviving and thriving. Any thoughts on that attitude?
That's brilliant. I love that, because I think that most people that are, have that kind of conversation, because they're like, oh, if I make it to 80, then that's way past the normal lifespan. No, we're talking about a normal lifespan is like at least 200.
Right.
Methuselah, almost 1,000 years old. Come on, this is what could be normal.
Right.
So if that was normal and you were healthy and you were wealthy, which everyone can be, there's many mansions in my father's house. So why wouldn't you want to, continue on? Why would you stop at 80? Because you could have all this, fun and fantastic, experiences with your family and new friends and learn new things. You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be like an astronaut, you could be like, all these different things throughout your life, which you can't even be barely one good one of any of those things in the current lifespan. I think just about everybody's like, oh hell yeah, I'm going to do that. Forget that 80 years old. I'm on. Let's go.
Right. Now, let's go right into the screenplay one more time, because it all seemed to be coming true. That's what they were telling me, even producers from Hollywood. It's all coming true. Even the fake Oval Office is in there, Michael. The fake Oval Office. It's like they're imitating art. Life imitating art, right? Because they were fascinated by it at the pitch session. Bonaventura said, this is revolutionary. But here's a thought, too. In the original screenplay, they used religion. They have a state religion in that one world society with cronies put in place, like televangelists, in place to mislead those outside the program, to keep them adhering to a normal short life and not clamor for the elite. That's the elite's answer, the long play in the screenplay, for how to handle that thing about, people would be creating anarchy if they were not allowed to be part of this program, right? And speaking of that, people have been programmed through movies like Deep Impact and Armageddon and things like this to believe that it's going to be okay for a lottery to be done after scientists and great accomplished artists are selected, with our military leaders and administrations will be selected, first of all, and then there'll be a lottery for those rest of population to appease them, that you could be part of this new reset society where we have to limit how many are allowed in the program. So that is not part of the Matrix, but it is part of the Immortals. This whole idea of that lottery does exist, and it's called a merit program. But like back to what you said about the train station scene, the merit program that the people base their heart on, with a state-run religion prompting them to stick outside the program, is an idea that their children can have a better life if they prove themselves. And what do you think it comes down to in the original story? The original story, it comes down to if they are appealing. And that does not guarantee them lasting in the program. So we're talking Epstein files in the Immortals through the train station scene, which you were very keen to catch. So very, very
well, you've educated me, and I just start to piece all these different things and our reality that you've shown us through your work what is going to be our reality, because you have to download, and it's they capture that and they twisted it so that we wouldn't have that knowledge. That's why you should be doing the original work. Right. This would like educate people on a level that would accelerate our development, accelerate all the people out there. There wouldn't be a lottery like Hunger Games. Your work also is tied into Hunger Games as well.
Yeah. Crazy. The stadium and everything, where the people battle with their kids for a chance for the program to be in the program. Exactly right. That's where they got it. And I love the way you phrased it too. So we're looking at something where also they seem to fear the elite, the cabal. Well, it's hard to say the elite because they kept telling me I'm part of the elite. You would be part of the elite in their mindset because you have the aptitudes, abilities, the talents, the man stuff. So it's like they would consider you part of the club, even if our ideologies would be at a crossroad on differing on how humanity should be treated, And so there's this interesting divide and chasm, which is also crossed over in different ways, where they'll go, we offer you this if you'll do this, we'll offer you this, we know you want to help everybody. Go back to that Lauren Holmberg Masons moment, where I'm brought in the Masons on Maui, promised as a performer that you'd fit right in, just memorize stuff, we have drinks together, and helps your business or your family. All right, great. He sits me down. Lauren Holmberg designed gates, export imports from Africa, designed gates for the wealthy, very wealthy man himself, said he was CIA also, Lauren. And he said, look, he said in plural, we're fascinated by your story, which he meant CIA guys that he knew. We're fascinated by your story, because another guy, Paul, was there too. Just don't try to make a difference. No, sorry, took it out of order. We're fascinated by your story. We're going to blow your mind with the knowledge you're going to have. You're one of the elite now. Just don't try to make a difference. So I have a question. Did you notice when you were part of the organization?
Yeah.
Because I know there's good people there too.
Oh yeah.
Was there a prevailing thought, like Lauren was expressing, not to try to save the world, not to try to help everybody, not to try to even really care or cater to American citizens, but actually just the organization existed pretty much to take care of the organization's needs or the higher levels needs? It's very cryptic the way I'm saying. I'm sorry, I don't know how to phrase it.
You're absolutely right. It's the same thing within these organizations, because I said I was commenting on somebody in the chat. They're like, the military will save us. And I'm like, no, the military is involved in the pedo games too. And I thought the military was going to save us. No, the good military is going to save us. There's a good aspect within the CIA. Hello, I was part of it. And then there's the part that you're talking about. There's the elite that want the longevity, but they don't want it for us. They want to harvest our organs so they can continue. And that's stupid, because there are technologies out there where we don't have to harvest organs to like stay healthy and have longevity. That's their dumbed down version of their longevity. So yes, we could have 200, 900 years again. Right. After the flood, Noah, we stopped having longevity because all the technology that had that was gone, wiped out.
Right.
So now we're getting to the point, through Neuralink and all these other technologies. I'm not saying that Neuralink's going to, give us longevity, but
Right.
There is an aspect, just like AI, just like the internet is good. There's aspects within the CIA that are good. And there's aspects that are controlling the CIA to a great extent at this point, that are quite evil, that only serve the elite and try and keep the rest of us crushed down and destroy us as much as they can, because they want to keep our population down, because the more of us, the bigger the threat we are to them.
Exactly. Well said. And thanks for expressing all that too and sharing that, because that's so important. And what Lauren said to me, you just made me think of it. After I'd said, when he said, don't try to make a difference, I said, I can't help myself. I write my work. It comes out the way it does because I do it as a service to humanity. So if I would change that mentality, it would not work the way it wouldn't turn out right.
Yeah.
And,
you wouldn't get the downloads you're getting. Yeah.
Right. And so apparently I gave him the wrong answer, and I cared too much is the thing. And so that's the interesting element, sad element about this, is those of us that care too much really do the best work, I think. We're sensitive to what our audience are going to feel. We can do it. If we're smart, we do it in layers, like you exhibit layered thinking, same as me. And it's like, if those people are stripped away because they care too much, and that's a parameter, then you're going to end up with a really shady group of people running the show.
Yeah.
And then with a mentality like this, I want to read this one element. I never read this on the air before. It's from Page. I love that you said make the movie. We are going to make the movie. Like I said, Christopher's patent office work was supposed to prelude it, but Elon Musk was alerted that we were doing it. So as soon as the patent went in, claim he was alerted. But on page 109, listen to this phrasing.
Tom, I wish I was rich. We would create your movie.
Oh, I'd love that. Yeah. Well, let's see what happens. Maybe you'll get blessed like crazy. Yeah. You're on the road anyway. Yeah. That'd be so much fun.
We'd have a fortune. So it would
be so much fun.
God would be so generous. He's like, finally, somebody, but it doesn't have to be me.
No.
There's some billionaires out there that would love to do this, but they know that if they did, they would get hammered. So that's why no one has the cojones to step up. That's why Trump, at this point, even though he knows that you are the man,
they claim
he's not getting involved yet, because there's a timing thing that's involved here. You do it too soon, and you can lose everything.
Oh, I hear you. Even Roseanne said she was going to make it. But people say that, but then it's like when they look at the orchestra that's working against us to do this, the powers to be have had a long time to entrench themselves and perfect their system of destruction and subjugation and control. Yeah. And so they're way ahead of the race on that.
And then how are you going to get it? Because they own all the movie theaters, and so how are you going to get it to the public? So it's tough. It's definitely tough.
Yeah. Well, here's the statement by the architect. Now, this is one thing I want to share with you too. I don't ever really talk about this much. I'd like to do on your program. In the original work, again, the suits from Warner Brothers in that first meeting in 1995, they asked the Wachowskis and Jill Silver, they said, we know we have something cool, but we don't understand it. Could you explain it? None of them could explain it. None of them understood it, because it's written in complex layers. One of the layers that was complex was the architect has a son. The architect has an only son derived from the eggs of the architect's mother, and they allow them to age to 5 years old, and then they eliminated everyone except for the most identical matching to the architect himself, genetic wise, that looked and matched mostly. And the son was supposed to feel grateful that he was the one begotten chosen son of the architect. Now, it's a lot to swallow. So when you see the real movie, it's going to be a lot deeper than The Matrix and grabbing a sneaker. So what happens is you've got this also. The architect's son, then, Lucas loved this, by the way. The architect's son from Star Wars, he elicits or selects Neo to believe that the architect's son is against what his father's doing. His father's going to launch an Armageddon, so he elicits Neo to alert Underground and allows them to be standing by ready for when the architect is taken out. The architect's son, think of this in the Matrix movie, but they couldn't understand. They took it out. Put it back in there now. Think of it this way. Back in. So Neo is at the assassination of the architect. And then he's a witness. And then the architect's son hugs, Lucas put it in Solo, Star Wars Solo, hugs his father.
Wow.
After shooting him in the arms and the legs. And his father, because his father the architect needed somebody to love. And he has this one son he chose, and he thought his son would be grateful. And here he is killing him. He even hugs his son, wounded in all 4 places. I love you, son. And his son blows him away in his arms. So that's why they did it in Solo, with Solo.
Wow.
Now, using up the story, they call it. Now, the import of this is that the architect's son takes his father's place by using his enhancer. He cuts the enhancer out, bloody in his hands from the back of his father's neck, holds it up and says, now we are one. Almost tenderly. Because now he can be everything, all the memories, all the knowledge, everything his father has, his identity is now in his hands. Talk about identity theft. And he can now put it in back and take his father's place. He didn't want to be number 2. Wow. And so here's what the architect's son says to the troops before the Armageddon, where he's going to purge the agents. And that's why the agents, like yourself, join the underground. Now, you talked about the good military people. This is the scene. Now, here's what the architect's son says to all the people. I am the Alpha and the Omega. You are my chosen. As the sun rises, so will you. Make for me a pure world. This day the scriptures are fulfilled. I am the Lamb of God. I am. The soldiers rise to their feet in a flurry of salutes. Zekyle, Zekyle, Zekyle. The architect's son drinks in their praise as the soldiers' shouts continue. He speaks over them. I am with you always.
Wow.
So there's where we're heading right now. The China visit is very, very, very important. It means the clock has ticked to the 12th hour. The camps are being refurbished. It doesn't matter what administration's in charge. They're all doing it. All of them. President Trump, if you're waiting for the right moment, I think you've held the audience's suspense as long as it needs to be held. It's time. You know the real story. Let's get it out of the hands of Elon Musk and back in those that actually care too much. And we can have a better world. And that's my thoughts.
Wow. That's incredible, Dom. Wow. What an incredible hour. I just looked at the time. I was like, an hour went by?
And I didn't even see the time. It just ended that way. There's a God. We know this.
Yeah.
And I just want to say something right now. I usually never do on the air. I just want to say this in front of you, Michael. I just want to take a moment and say, Father God, thank you for making Michael. Thank you for making me, Tracy Joe, all of us, that we're alive in this time and honored to be in this time to bring forward truth fearlessly and real men and real women, divinely as you created, coming together to change a world in its most desperate hour, the most perfect time to be alive if people want to matter. Thank you, Father. Amen.
Amen. Wow. Beautiful. All right. You can't get any better ending than right there. Right, Tom? Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing. Great info as always. Wow. So yeah, we're hopeful that things are going to be exposed and turn around, and that President Trump will expose a lot of stuff. We're watching. All right.
If he's waiting for the right moment, it's now. So yeah, all right. But thank you, Michael. Yeah.
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 Thanks, everyone.
All right. Take care.
Woo!